three places. I need you to play the guy like that. I did the film, we did it went away. Suddenly the film became a big hit. And that director's name was Guy Ritchie.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And I remember very clearly, he said, I need you to meet my co-producer on this film, and that was Matthew Vaughn. And I met Guy Ritchie and Matthew Vaughn, two white boys going, Mike, this is gonna shoot me that. Wait, just give what you can give me, and then they did.
It's the one.
Nearly 50 years of performing now.
Wow. Centurion.
I'm basically, and so I started as an 8-year-old actor with the WNTV back.
Oh yes, I remember this.
You know.
Took us to we went to the.
Yeah, you saw the station.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you. So that's where I started with the likes of Sam Loco, F.A., Aki Lewis, Ajude Babatunde. These are veterans of TV. 1960, first television station in Africa. And I did a series called Why Wale Ojo. I mean, I could silence in the room, but you speak to the older G's, they go, you were Why Wale Ojo. So, and then from there, I was in England for a while, and then no work in England as an actor. A little bit of work here and there, but really ultimately nothing that was really completely satisfying, maybe one or two things. So I tried my hand in music, because a lot of people don't know this, but I lived with Sing for a while.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What?
In Kilburn.
What's the sound?
I can't remember the last name.
Yeah, okay.
But because he was into music, I was into music, a lot of, and there was like two of us, the three of us that used to love music. Joey Duquesne, who was the son of Governor Bokna was the deputy governor of Demola Adedoyin, and another musician called Sasore Jones, who was the son of the industrialist Femi Sonia. So we used to busk in the streets of
I was still younger brother.
Still your brother, I never even met this.
He's now a film director as well.
Is he really? That's interesting.
So what was the life-changing moment?
The life-changing moment. I remember when I came to Nigeria, it was life-changing. I think so. Because I done a series called Midnight Jones in London. And I never knew how big it was in Nigeria. So I came to Nigeria, I've been coming to Nigeria a lot, but that particular year, it was kind of crazy because everyone had been seeing Midnight Jones, I think on, I can't remember the name of that channel, Africa Magic. And then the series was very, very popular at that time. So a lot of things changed. That's when I actually made the decision to move to Nigeria.
It's interesting because we have similarities.
I
didn't live the seal shot. But no, I think a life-changing experience for me. So in my mind, I was in film school in New York, and I was thinking, what I had sort of dreamt, my life trajectory that I had dreamt up was that I was going to go from New York, I was going to go to LA, and I was going to take over Hollywood.
Of course, always.
I was going to be the next big thing.
Yes.
And then I lost my stepfather, and then so which was a huge thing for us because he raised me. He raised me from the age of like 6, 7, and so I came home and to spend time with my mom.
Wow.
Because I thought to myself, like, wow, like this is and to date it had been, after losing my grandfather, it was like the second biggest.
By the way, Eku's mom is like a classic. I mean, I remember going to her house. Her mom is real classic, vintage elegance that I've never seen. And then they've got this massive mansion in Apapa. I was like, wow, Eku, this is your house? Yeah, incredible.
We shot there.
We shot there for Breath of Life, because we had to do reshoots, right?
Yeah, I remember that. We had the gun scenes.
Yeah. So when I got back, I said I'm gonna stay for a while. I'm gonna stay with my mom, and I had no money in my account anyways because I was a student, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to stay for a little bit, and I was working in my mom's restaurant, and my friends would come in and they would just with me and they would say, hey, and new friends that I made as well, and say, hey, what do you want to do? And I said, I'm an actor, I'm looking for acting work. And one of my friends, Kule, Oluwa, DJ Bruce, literally said to me, Multi-Choice is doing auditions, for a new show, and I thought it was an acting gig. But when I went for it, and it was an open audition, you know, so all the TV girls, who are all doing really well now, all the TV girls were there, and I went in and I was so focused I was going to get that audition, whatever the part was, I was going to get it. I was the first person there, and yeah, I got the job, and that's how I ended up being the face of 53, Studio 53 Extra. Then it became 53 Extra, and I did that for 10 years. I ended up doing that for 10 years, yeah. But and obviously I never went back to Hollywood.
What was just fascinating? What about your twin?
So my twin
both had different.
Yeah, well, she's staying in the UK. So
Okay.
she came in. My brother and my sister, they came for the funeral, but they didn't stay.
Okay.
So we all flew back home, and I stayed.
Right.
That was the difference. And my sister, she moved back for a little bit. She lives in Dubai now, but
So I remember the beginning. I was
Yeah.
always seeing you on your twin,
yeah,
and I could never distinguish between the both.
yeah, she moved back maybe a few years after me. She
Yeah.
moved back a few years after me, but it was interesting. She never pursued. We both were very active in theatre when we were younger, but she didn't pursue that. I was always very determined
Wow.
to follow that path. I always stuck to it, and it wasn't that I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but I was willing to say yes. They're like, okay, you're going to be a TV presenter now. Yes, I'm going to be a TV presenter. I didn't know what the show was. Like I said, when I got there, once I had spoken and I knew it was about TV presenting, I was like, I'm going to be the best TV presenter.
Yeah.
I don't care. And that's literally, I've always said yes. I said yes to Vivi and Derin when they were like, come and produce. And I thought, oh my God, like, am I really going to come and produce in Nigeria? Yeah. Because it's very stressful, because even just presenting is stressful. So, you know, you really see shaky when you're a producer in Nigeria. And we just had such a great creative partnership that became another life-changing choice for me. And it came at a very interesting time, because did I have Elena when I met you guys?
I don't think so.
Maybe she was just more.
Really?
She was very young. I have a daughter. She's 7 now.
Well, she was there.
She was just a baby. Yeah, she was just one, so she wouldn't have been with me. But I remember that was the 3 life-changing experiences. The third was having a child. Because just before Elena, I thought I was going to quit Nigerian entertainment, and I was just like, I'm going to figure out something else to do. And then I had a daughter, and I remember thinking to myself, what would she be most proud of me for doing? Like, you know, and I didn't want to give up my dreams. And I thought to myself, I'm not giving up my dreams because there's somebody else that's looking up to me. And it renewed my kind of like hunger to keep going, because I hadn't really found my path. Even though people were like, oh, you're a great presenter, I did not love it anymore. I talk about this all the time when people say, are you going to go back to TV presenting? I'm like, no, I was so burnt out and done. I was, even in 2016, I really did not enjoy presenting, and it was like, and acting wasn't going how I wanted it to go. I felt so unfulfilled creatively. Even though I had really great achievements, it just was, and then I was like, I'm back. And then Castle came, and then things just started happening, and then I started working with Vivi and Derin, and more things started happening, and we had disappointments, but it felt like I had a purpose. That was the difference. I was walking in purpose. So even when disappointments happened, it would be, oh, don't worry, we got this. We're a team, and maybe that is the power of collaboration, or feeling like you're a part of a team. It just means that we're all fitting together.
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that Hollywood thing where? Because I remember when you said, I'm going to go to LA, I'm going to conquer LA, and get to Hollywood, and the reality is so great.
I never went, that's the thing.
Oh, you never went? I went, I did the whole thing, I tried, agent, all that stuff. The whole hog. When I now got the apartment, I got an apartment in a nice part of town, blah, 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 blah. And then month after month, what's happening? I think just about over a year and a half. And I was like, dude. And at one point, it got so bad when I couldn't pay the rent, then I had to think of going back to music again. Organizing a live music gig. I was like, I'm not going to what I did in London. I am out of here now. And I came to Nigeria.
For us, I met Vivi. I met him again in Indianapolis. We went to secondary school together in Alpha, and I was friends with his older brother. We were in the same house and all that, and I just happened to be on Hi-Fi, one of these social networks, and I saw that Vivi and his brother were in Indy. And at that time, I was I had a job, but I was always doing things on the side, like doing other businesses and things on the side. I wanted to get into film. I just didn't know what. Like how.
Yeah.
So I met up with them, and then found out that BB was a writer, and he showed me all the short films and everything, and just how short films, student short films are. They just kind of
Amateurish.
well, it looked good, looked really good, and but I didn't understand the story.
Okay.
I was talking about. It was very eccentric, you know. So I was just like, man, this guy. So I just kept on asking, like, hey, because I looked at what he shot, and I looked at Nollywood at the time. I was like, how come Nollywood looks like this, and your stuff looks like this? Like, what's the difference? What's the difference? It was a disconnect. I was like, can you do this? Yeah, and that's Nollywood. And that's how the conversation started. Like, okay, we just started working on. We shot a commercial, like spec. We just started doing projects together. Like, we'll go to work, we'll come back in the evening, we'll do a commercial for Obama's campaign, like just free, like just red scripts. And we just kept on doing like different projects, like free stuff for businesses in Indianapolis, and then we started a marketing agency. And as we were working, we'd be watching Nollywood films. You know, we saw Beyonce and Rihanna. You know, Genevieve and Omotola.
Okay.
And then just like you're hearing that these guys are like the stars in Nigeria. I was like, whoa. I was like, these are the stars in Nigeria, and this is Genevieve Omotola actually dancing in front of a TV in her living room. Like, dude, we can't do this now. Let's go to Nigeria. Let's go to Nigeria. Let's do this, because the competition in the States is like, it's a lot, and the resources to get to the point where you can be seen is heavy.
Well, here's the interesting thing though, and I get this a lot from colleagues on the international scene. They always tell me that some of the most talented actors and even directors in the States are Nigerians. And then there's something about, you need to get a whole group of them to come to Nigeria and do some stuff.
You see them, like you see the actors, you see the Yvonne Orji's,
Everybody.
you see the directors. I mean, John Boyega, I mean, David, but like, it's such a hard.
Sophia Canadian, I'm sorry.
It's such a hard industry to crack, but it felt as if, okay, we could learn in Nollywood, we could learn, and we can also produce, so we can get paid to learn, so to say. We're so lucky that our first project was successful, because just right off the bat, we got sponsorship from First Bank and Airtel, and pretty much paid for production. So everything else was like.
And that's your first movie.
Our first project, TV show. That's when we found, and we found all the core team that we're working with now.
By the way, where did you get the production manager?
So Vincent, I worked with on I met him through working with Influence.
Okay.
So he produced. He produced Superstar.
Really?
He production managed Superstar.
Superstar.
And I was like, this is the best production manager.
He really is. And he knows how to, because production managers really wire up actors. Like they get on actors there. But this I thought was really good.
So that's how, and it was interesting because we talk about how Vivi always used to get irritated that I would go to the productions. And then he'd be like, well, at least you're doing research for our production. You're going to find all the best people.
Wow, that's we worked with Demola on our very first project.
Okay, on 4:30.
4:30, and for some reason, like, people saying that.
And you killed it.
You killed it, but from there, just kind of found our tribe, so to say, people that you could work with, people that you relate with, because the language of film is complicated, I think. So it's like you're speaking the language, and like certain people can understand your language. People that do action, that's a whole other language to do action movies. Comedy, a whole other language. Drama, a whole other language. So when you find people that kind of do what your language, when you're speaking, you guys are, you're connecting, So, like I said, this Breath of Life was good to meet you, meet you, and I know we're most likely going to do stuff together. Just based on how things are, in the past, and like this, so we can kind of understand each other, and it makes things easier. Because I think our Nollywood is on a trajectory that it's going collectively. You know, not just our studio and
I think I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I know it was a turning point. I think I gave Eku quite a hard time before I accepted to do this.
Did you get that?
No, I remember that was like, I think you
I'm
kept calling me and you're like,
I'm a very aggressive
She's tough,
producer.
man.
I'm a very aggressive producer.
Yeah.
I don't take no, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you better
right.
say yes.
She was like, maybe not like, don't worry, I'll talk to me again. I'll talk like
Okay. Every time when he was standing a bit up, I'm like, no, he'll come round, he'll come round.
That's what she was saying, like, don't worry.
Because I came to your office now.
yeah, that's right.
He has the studio in TBS.
Yeah.
And I came and you made me watch your production you're working on at the time.
Oh, really? Which one
I
was
don't know,
it?
it was some,
I can't even remember.
I don't know what you guys were shooting, but it was there, Sha.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's funny.
And then I would sit down, we talk, we go back and forth, go back and forth. I'm like, don't worry, he'll be on the project. And then once you said yes, I handed you over to the.
We're not it now.
I was like, I handed you over to somebody else. And I was like, it's your problem now, production.
Yeah, so me, I was living in Abuja. I started this like multimedia production and IT company. We were doing websites. We were doing CD-ROM archiving then.
Wow.
Cloud, there was none of that stuff. So we're taking all the paper data from all these huge companies and like putting them on CD-ROMs and stuff like that. We started networking and LAN networking and stuff like that. So we got to work on a presidential campaign. I'm not going to say which one. And we made quite a bit of money, so I was feeling good. I was like, okay, it's time to go back to school. I went to go and do my master's in London. When I finished my master's, I was like, this film that I've been thinking about since I was a little boy, that nobody in my family wanted me to do, except for my sister who encouraged me. My sister was like my mentor at the time. She was working in politics. She was the one that helped us get jobs and stuff. So after that, I thought, well, I know absolutely nothing about film except for the fact that I see it on the screen. I know how to mimic actors and stuff like that. I needed technical knowledge. So I went to Central Film School
Okay.
and I studied directing actually
Oh, wow.
and digital film production. I didn't study acting because I thought to myself, okay,
It's not serious enough.
that is, no, I just thought I have more natural talent there. So I can
Okay.
work on that on my own. I
Okay.
can use YouTube to brush myself up. I use YouTube for that, but for the technical stuff, let me go in school.
Have you acted before?
How
How did you know you had the talent?
just basic stuff. We did Mary Poppins in secondary
Wow.
school, and I had a terrible experience in primary school.
So what role
My
were you?
mustache, I was one of the chimney sweeps,
Okay.
and my mustache fell off,
Okay.
and everyone started laughing, and I wanted to enter the ground. So I was like, God,
So that was the
never
experience.
did.
That was a life-changing moment.
Yeah, I was like, no, this can
I was
never
like, that's
happen.
the experience that made you think you were a good actor?
No. I was terrible. I thought I would never do this. But that kind of helped me deal with the idea of failure, and stage fright and all that stuff. I was like, well, that's already happened, so nobody can make fun of me worse than this because people really laughed. And after that, I thought I was going to stay in London and be an actor, to read after. And I started doing auditions. And then I got a small part in a short film. And I was like,
Made it.
I'm an actor in London.
Yeah.
And then after that, nothing. After that, nothing. So I was like, it was like a kind of gravitational pull. I felt like I had to be back here. It was like jazz. I just was like, okay, let me just go back to Nigeria and do this thing. Rather be, bigger fish in a smaller pond kind of thing. And I went back, did a few auditions, and got turned down by the few.
You're like, I'm on this fish.
Yeah,
this
some
one,
people were like, this one cannot act now. Let this one just do lover boy parts and stuff like that. And another person said, hey, I didn't. I can't work for your father. This is not for you, And then
That can be very often.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And then I got a job with Tola Udusi filming. that
Yeah,
movie.
that's where we met.
Yes, that's what. And it was tough for me. I was awkward. I didn't know what I was doing. I was the stage fright thing. Yeah, I couldn't talk to anybody the first day of set, but I got, the movement. There's a movement from doing the job. You get better, you learn and everything. So that made me more comfortable. And then Kunle approached me for October 1. He said to me, look, I know you can do this, but you just have to prove it to everyone else. So he made me come, I did audition. Everybody saw me, they were like, yeah, this guy, correct. So we did the film. I don't know what to say. I kept.
So that was your life-changing moment, October 1st?
At October 1st.
And that was the first time that I saw you. I thought
that was
really,
proper life-changing.
October,
because I was like,
what he did in that.
this is real now.
Yeah.
Okay, I believed it then after doing that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe it until that point. So after that, everybody started getting nominations. I was like, okay, let's go. And then a bit more before 30, a few other things. And then God Calling. God Calling was another big one for me because it was very humbling. It was like I'm a believer in God, and then somebody's asking you to play God. That's it. There's not too much more.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
The timing, how long it's taking things to, I guess, unfold in your careers. Like, do you feel as if the timing has been what you had in mind? Has it taken longer? Has it taken
much longer?
Going crazy.
Much longer.
Yeah, crazy.
Not fast enough.
I have a story. This club I used to go to in London. I can't mention them. I don't want to be in trouble. But this guy used to deal drugs in that club, right?
Well, you can mention that.
Yeah. No. I'll tell you what he was. That was interesting because he knows the story and it's public. And he approached me one day and said, "Look, Wale, I want to shoot this movie." "Yeah." I said, "Do you have any money?" "I only got £3,000. Shoot the whole movie." It was a short film. And yeah, I'll do it. He said, "I need you to play the guy." I did the film. He did it. It went away. Suddenly, the film became a big hit. And that director's name was Guy Ritchie.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And I remember very clearly, he said, "Oh, I need you to meet my co-producer on this film," and that was Matthew Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Guy Ritchie and Matthew Vaughn, two white boys going, "Yeah, Mike, yeah, this is going to shoot a little bit." I was like, wait, just give what you can give me, and then they did. So everybody's timing, you don't know.
Stratospheric.
So that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And then you're talking about live in London, right? There's Demola Adedoyin, right? Well, I highly respect as an actor. Okay, amazing actor. I finished playing King Henry with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Okay, I meet him because I live in Hammersmith, and I met him at King's Theatre in Hammersmith, and David's there looking morose. And then, "David, what's up?" I said, "I'm leaving this place." I'm taking my wife, but I'm changing my way to America. He said, "Come on, Lee." I said, "You go to King Henry for the RC, you got this, this. You got a Netflix." And the moment you hit America, it's carried. So you do all that. I said to myself, this is the interview thing. Just train King Henry, done all these big roles in this London. I said, that should really consider
that whole London thing. Like, I just felt like
that was my when you saying that story.
I felt like, man, I'm going to become a statistic out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, easy.
I'm just going to be one of them. Yeah, easy. I need to get out.
It's interesting. I don't know. I've always kind of trusted the timing of my life. I've always had an instinct for the choices that I made. I don't know if they've been the best choices, but they've always worked out in the best way, because I was already working. I was already very fortunate when I was in the UK to be working for very influential people, and so if I'd stayed in a production career in UK, I would, be working all the productions that my boss has gone on to make. But for whatever reason, like I said, it felt right to keep staying here. And people always ask me, "Oh, don't you think that you would do this? Basically, don't you think you would do better? All the challenges that you have here, let's say with the acting stuff. Don't you think now that acting, there's a lot more diverse casting happening in the UK, happening, we see stuff like Bridgerton, we see a lot more black characters and mixed characters getting major roles, that I should go back, almost like go and find those opportunities, go to England or go to the States. And it's weird. I always say that I don't think I've ever felt as honest about the characters that I get to have a shape in creating or bringing to life as I do here. And it's not to say that that's the only point of acting, but there's just something very different about being able to tell Nigerian stories in a Nigerian way and to bring sort of like honor to like being a Nigerian, and to have a part in that. And because we're behind, I'm always like, just because we're behind in terms of the advancement of the industry doesn't mean that the work that we're contributing isn't as important. It just feels so. It just feels like so much of a gap because America is so much more ahead. But I think if you try and weigh up that distance, it can feel very demoralizing.
Yeah.
And that's not what I focus on. I focus on what is it that I have now that I can make the best products with. And it was the approach that we had with Breath of Life, for example, was that we're going to make a film that nobody's going to say is a Nigerian film. It's just a good film. It's a good film, no matter the standard, irrespective of the fact that we had a lesser budget to deal with. We were going to make a film that every element was done right. So the acting was well casted. So the actors were well casted. We focused the right amount of budget on production design, on hair, on makeup. We made sure we did our time producing in time, and obviously we as a production had the leisure to do that a little bit because we had a little bit more funding than your average Nigerian production. But I don't think you have to blow, quote unquote, internationally to blow.
Yeah.
I don't think that that validation is the stamp.
It's a higher purpose to be here right now, to contribute.
Yeah, I mean, and and if you decide to leave, that's great too. But I know it's important work. It's important work for us as filmmakers, as Nigerian filmmakers, especially as filmmakers that want to do better, to keep trying to do better. To keep trying to make work that that is exemplary, meets the standard, and is telling positive stories about Nigerians in Nigeria.
I've always been a startup guy. Even after graduating, I worked for a startup. Started my own things. I like the idea of starting something from scratch. I don't like the idea of joining something that's already been proven. So it's more rewarding for me, internally to be part of this story. There's no even story to say, hey, we're part of the people that. Because I mean, look at our peers at Afrobeats. I'm sure everyone that's been a part of that journey brought Afrobeats to what it is. Is proud of their contribution. Whether they talk about Plantation Boys, MI, people that devised, like people that like laid the ground, like they're all part of what made Afrobeats what it is today. So
I mean, the studio you came to, the 10th place that you sat, Whiskey that sat there. And because they used to do MTV Base in our studio.
I remember I started my career, when we talk about the measure of healthy success, I started my career the same time as Davido, the same time as Whiskey. We were all working in the industry around the same time. So talk about music, look, they're stratospheric stars. They're huge stars, and I just think that you have to be the difference that you want to see in the world, and you have to take responsibility for that. If you're going to criticize and say this isn't good or that isn't good, and you're just a complainer, then I don't think there's any merit to that. I think the merit, the hard work comes and say, okay, I see an issue and I want to fix it, and I'm going to be part of that process. And I have the talent, and I can teach, I can help. And we may not end up with the Academy Award, but it'd be nice to know that you started something so that so it doesn't feel like it's so far off.
I also think we're going to be, well, not going to be, I think we already are part of educating the world about Africa and Nigeria. Because if you look at that, the French reporter that asked Chimamanda, do you have bookshops?
No, but that is true. No,
and if you watch a film like Breath of Life, it might be easy for a foreigner to ask, oh, was Nigeria even that well developed back then? And it was, and this is how we showed.
I sing because I'm happy.
Like, identify with the most in real life.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely Timmy.
Okay.
The Timmy character. Because
So you're Timmy as well.
yeah, but I think more of
The grumpy old man.
yeah, the angry. Yeah, I was pretty angry being back here for a while because I was going through a lot in my personal life,
Okay.
and it was from loss
Yeah.
as well as just being back here and being lost and everybody saying no and all this kind of stuff. So for a while, it was really very dark and I was very angry and isolated and antisocial. So yeah, I definitely identify with that. I've had my kind of breath of life.
Moment. Okay.
Very nice moment.
Okay.
Yeah, this work helped me here personally.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes.
Connecting with people, learning how to work with people
Yeah.
I would never have worked with growing up. You know, that kind of thing. I think it helped me, it saved me in a way.
Who do I relate with most? Probably, to be honest, probably Anna. Anna is somebody that was born into comfort, born into privilege, but
Fell in love.
not about love, but in terms of this one. The romance. No, Anna is fearless, and she is willing to let go everything that defines her socially, anything that defines her in terms of status, to chase what she loves, and to chase what she believes in. And so I would relate to that. But yeah, 100%. I'm the first filmmaker in my family, especially definitely the first Nollywood filmmaker in Germany. And I think for them, for the first decade, or maybe the first 5 years of my career, it was very much like, will you ever make enough money to survive? You know, will you ever make enough money? And it's true, but I did. I did. I worked it out. I figured it out. I got multiple jobs. Not just I diversified. I MC'd. I did other films. I learned how to be very, very resourceful, and yeah, I did. I made it work. And to a lot of people, especially like my mom, and they're like, why don't you just go back to London? Why didn't you go to LA? Why didn't you go to why don't you go where film is already extremely established, that you're already working in the film industry there? But I was like, no, I'm happy to be here. So that's what I mean. So I'll say Anna.
We're happy that you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy doesn't to me now, I think really identify with the character. Because I identify with those moments of solitude that the character has, moments of loneliness. Not so much the God rejection, but close to it. I ask a lot of philosophical questions, you know. And one of those that I always ask was that Nigerians pray every single day, and things get worse every single day. So why? How? You know, that one still bemuses me. You know, and then after a while, I realized that actually we are praying to the altar of money. Not to the altar of divinity. You know, so again, you know, what I say, and I find that to me had this philosophical, psychological thing, you know, that he was going through, and you know, he could quote the Bible easily. He could, and he was a God-fearing man, and he was also a God-rejecting man because life hit him in the face squarely. You know, to say, I mean, with great wisdom comes great suffering.
Do you know, it's interesting because I don't think anybody could have played this character.
Oh, stop.
I don't, because you know the character himself is a linguist. You know, he talks a lot, he reads a lot, he can speak several languages, and you needed someone that could, how do we say, you know, could really tear script, like, you know, like get through dialogue, like could get through big chunks of dialogue and not have an issue with dealing with such heavy text, the philosophical text, the political text.
Chopping lines.
Yeah, so yeah,
There's a lot of beautiful dialogue in the film.
and yeah, so that was one of the reasons why I kept knocking on his door. Hello, are you gonna come and do this film?
No, it was great. I'm so glad you did. It was such a wonderful experience playing to me. It really was. I was just I thought I was going to get lazy because I have a house in Ibadan, and when they put me in Ibadan, fantastic, I have to stay in the hotel, I can stay in my house. But sometimes I found myself staying at the hotel.
You did, yeah.
And I chat with Genevieve, I chat with Jimmy there, I say, oh, guys, I really see tomorrow, you know what I mean? And for me, when it starts, when you start to really enjoy it, it's for me, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It means I can work into the late hours, I'm not going to mind all those horrible workmen in the warehouse who won't let us do a scene, You just have to just keep moving, And I think it was right interesting, Ibadan was tough, but we did it. And I think it's down to, like I said, good script, great crew.
Yeah, because I remember those nights, there were some nights when you were really burnt out.
I was burnt out, yeah.
Like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And you would be like, I'm done.
Yeah. It was, but and sometimes when I think I'm done,
And then
people push, and then
I'm like,
you
right.
just discover something. I think that's fantastic. You discover that in yourself as an actor.
Darren,
Timmy.
Wow.
Young Timmy. Before Nigeria, young Timmy.
Yeah.
Okay.
After Nigeria,
Oh, Timmy, yeah.
So, Nigeria, I feel like it really
It deals with you.
dealt,
It deals with you.
deals with you, especially just dealing with, people.
Yeah.
Dealing with all kinds of characters.
Yeah.
And then obviously,
Our people.
our people, obviously just, what we all have to do with that infrastructure, all these things, like it definitely turned me from an idealistic person to more like
A cynic.
a cynic.
Almost a cynic.
Almost a cynic, yeah, but I'm like, nah, dude. Gotta bash anything needs to get done. You need to, nothing makes sense in Nigeria. So, I went from you gotta do things by the rules to
Everything, anything goes.
Which rules?
Adapt.
Everything
Adapt and
fails.
survive.
Honestly, it's weird. Nigeria does that too. It's also the charm of Nigeria as well.
Yes.
Every day feels like a
Every day is
stage play.
different.
Every day feels like a stage play. So I waited for
Yeah.
someone to come and say, okay, cut, we're done.
I know.
I'm like,
I know. There's like one day, right? I'm traveling out. I was going abroad. I was in a mad rush. I got to there. I was in the worst mood. I was like, in a bad mood because this was not working, and I couldn't get this back. I got through the immigration, got into customs, and everyone just stood there, looked at me like this. I said, wait a minute. He said, what did you do to that woman in that movie? It's not good. And then we started having a 20-minute discussion. And my bad mood just melted straight away. No, go to the machine. You don't go to the machine. You don't know. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, okay. I don't get anywhere else, So what you say about that charm of Nigeria?
Yes.
You don't have it anywhere else.
I don't feel the same way that I do anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't.
Yeah.
You're frustrated, and then someone
And also, and then go
I just love
that way.
and I love our collective community.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
fact that after a day of
Unique.
work, I can call a friend and say, "Are you home? I'm coming to jam in your house." And
Yeah.
and you can do that anywhere else. They'll say, "Oh no,
Yes.
I'm
walking the dog.
I'll see you on the 28th of June. That's my next opening window. See you on Christmas. Or I'm not available for 7 days. I'm working overtime.
But Eddie, you know what? You can slip into both roles.
What
You should really explore playing like a British.
British?
You can play a white British.
Well,
Easy.
Yeah.
And then slip back to Nigeria and then shock them.
Maybe. You'd be surprised that when you actually see me next to a white British lady there.
Yeah, so
Maybe she doesn't look
that's-
that white. Because there's contrast here.
Exotic.
They're like, she's foreign.
I think you should explore it.
Because I remember when I was in England and doing, how they would cast you, it would always be,
Yeah.
it would always be other, it wouldn't be.
Really?
Yeah.
Very
So,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, but there's nowhere like home.
There's nobody like home. Nobody like Niger. And nobody like Nollywood.
Yeah.
I've lived my life. It is time to live yours.
Make sure you catch
Breath of Life.
On Prime.
On December 15th.
Jackpot.
Jackpot to Prime.